First of all, I believe there are four types of students among you, right? Four types of students. Well, the first type of the students, they are the ones whose theory as well as problems, they are unable to understand the theory portion as well as they are unable to do the problems. That is your type 1 category. Your type 2 students, they'll be good in understanding theoretical part of the physics, but they won't be good in doing the problems. They won't be good in applying the theory into the problems, right? They won't be able to solve the problems of the same concepts which they would have discussed in the theoretical part. That is type 2. Type 3, their theory, right? They can easily understand the theoretical part. They can even do the classroom problems. After your teacher discusses the theory, they are able to do the classroom problems, but after that, they are unable to solve the new questions. This is your type 3 category. Your type 4, they are able to understand the theoretical part. They are able to solve the classroom problems. They are able to solve the new questions as well. But when they write the chapter-wise test, when they write the test series, they are unable to solve the questions, right? These are the four types of the students, right? These are the four different types of the students, right, who have asked me basically how to make their physics stronger. What all things they have to consider if they want to score really high when it comes to physics, if they really want to score 160 plus in physics. So my dear students, there are certain things which I have mentioned over here, and I would want you guys to remember, analyze all these things and try to apply all these things from now onwards while you're studying. My dear students, I believe majority of you are watching the online lectures, right? Perfect. And your online lecture duration will be, I believe, 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Perfect. Well, after you watch one of the lecture of your physics, let's say you are watching the lecture from 9 to 10:30 in the morning for the subject physics. Okay. Well, after this particular lecture, my dear students, you have to take 1 hour of time. You have to take 1 hour of time to revise the same thing. Whatever your teacher has taught you in the lecture, right? And since that lecture is over from 9 to 10:30, so from 10:30 to 11:30, you are not going to jump into one more subject. You are not going to do something new. You are going to revise the same thing. Revise the same thing. Whatever your teacher has taught you in that 1.5 hour duration, right? Revise the same thing again in 1 hour. Okay. Now, what all things you have to do in that 1 hour? Whatever question your teacher has solved in the class, try to solve the same questions again without seeing the solution. That's how you can remember their approach. That's how you can remember their approach. That's how you will remember how to deal with those questions. So first of all, whatever questions your teacher is going to solve in the classroom, right? Once the session ends, once the lecture ends, right? Take 1 hour of your time, and in that 1 hour, try to revise the same things again. Try to solve the same questions again without seeing the solution this time, right? And once you're done with that, in the same 1 hour, my dear students, you can try to create some new questions. You can try to create some new questions. You just need to look at the same questions again and think differently. Think differently. Try to create few more questions, right? You are going to do that. You are not going to use any book for that. Perfect. You're going to use your brain and try to create some different types of questions out of the same questions which your teacher has solved in the class, right? For example, let's say I'm teaching something. I'm giving you the value of x and I'm giving you the value of x and I'm asking you to get the value of y, right? When you take 1 hour after your lecture, right? Think in different perspective. What if y was given and x was to be calculated, right? Think like that. Think like that. Try to create the new questions out of the same questions which your teacher would have solved, right? In the class. Perfect. And my dear students, this is the best way of understanding physics. You need to teach yourself. That's what I used to do when I was preparing for my JEE examination back in 2013, right? Just teach yourself whatever concept your teacher has taught in the classroom. Try to teach the same thing to yourself, right? It seems awkward, but it's not. Trust me, give it a try. Give it a try just once. Trust me, you are going to make your learning easier. That's how you can understand the concept better. Imagine right after your lecture ends, imagine there are a lot of students sitting in front of you and you're teaching them, for example. It is not necessary that you're teaching on the bigger screen, right? Imagine you're teaching on the notebook. That's how you can remember each and every concept. That's how you can remember the approach of different problems. And that is the best way of learning, which I have done when I used to prepare for my JEE examination, right? Point number one. Point number two, your homework questions. I have seen 99% of the students taking homework questions very lightly. Whatever question your teacher gives you in the class, right, as the homework, majority of the students do not solve them, right? But my dear students, solving homework questions, it is one more important factor by means of which you can make your physics stronger, right? See, a teacher in the classroom, he cannot show you all the types of the problems from a particular concept. He can show you maybe 5 types of the problems and tell you to do the remaining 3 types on your own, but you do not do them, right? And you avoid those 3 concepts. You avoid those 3 more types of the problems. Perfect. And later on, you suffer because of that. So try to solve all the homework questions, which includes your DPP questions as well. Perfect. My dear students, right? And how exactly you need to basically solve these homework questions, how exactly you need to solve these DPPs. There's a particular way of solving a question in physics. There's a particular way of solving a question in physics. First of all, you need to learn how to read the question. You need to learn how to read the question in physics, particularly. My dear students, while learning the question, right, you need to break this particular question into certain fractions, into certain parts. Try to relate those parts. And if you could try to relate those parts, so you are reading a question, right? The question is of like 3-4 lines. You broke it into 3 parts. This is part 1, the data that's given. And here, this is one more thing that's given. Here, this is one more thing that is given. Is there any relation between these 3 parts? Have I studied this before, right? Once you try to relate those small parts, you're halfway done, my dear students. Trust me on that. And the best part in your NEET physics is, in one question, only one concept is involved. In one question, they do not ask you more than 2-3 concepts. While if you compare your JEE Advanced examination, in one question, there'll be 3-4 concepts involved. But the best part in your examination is, in one question, there'll be only one concept involved. That is the best part here. And you just need to relate these small fractions. And my dear students, eventually, you'll be able to solve this question. Perfect. You will be halfway done. Trust me on that. It helps a lot. So try to use this particular thing as well. Now, moving on to a few more things. I am pretty much sure majority of the students watching me right now, I know you'll be avoiding this particular thing, NCERT in-text questions. I'm not telling you to solve NCERT exercise questions in physics, because your exercise questions are somewhat difficult. They are of your JEE Mains, JEE Advanced level, right? When it comes to your NCERT exercise questions in physics. But my dear students, you have to do NCERT in-text questions for sure, right? But, you're not supposed to solve the NCERT in-text questions right after watching the lecture. No. Once your chapter is complete, let's say you're starting with units and dimensions. Once your complete chapter of units, dimensions is over, then you are going to jump into the NCERT in-text questions. Remember this particular thing. And let me tell you, my dear students, your 30% of the physics paper directly and indirectly will be from the NCERT in-text questions. Trust me on that. You can check, you can analyze your previous year papers when it comes to NEET physics, right? And my dear students, while doing the NCERT in-text questions at the end, once you have completed the lecture of a particular chapter, right? Then you're going to the NCERT in-text, and at the same time, you're supposed to read the NCERT lines as well. And this is something which I've seen majority of the students skipping. My dear students, NCERT is one amazing book. But why students avoid NCERT? Because without watching the lectures, without completing the chapter from the lectures, they directly jump into NCERT, and there they won't be able to understand a single thing. But first, when you complete all the lectures of a chapter, then go to your NCERT. You're going to fall in love with the language of NCERT. Trust me on that. The way things are written there, and keep on underlining those important things. The way you do it when it comes to your biology as well as your inorganic chemistry. Okay? And this is one more important thing. My dear students, your 20% of the physics paper is directly formula based. If you remember the formula, you can solve those 20% of the questions in the physics paper. And how? There are a lot of basically formulas in physics, right? My dear students, for that, you have to make the formula sheets for every single chapter. There should be like one sheet, one page, or maximum 2 pages, which should include all the formulas of a particular chapter, all the derivations of a particular chapter, all the important conclusions of a particular chapter. They should be framed in one sheet. And you have to every day take 15 to 20 minutes of your time to revise those formulas. That's how this 20% of the paper will be done and dusted by you. And my dear students, if you do not do that, if you do not take your 15 to 20 minutes every day to revise those formula sheets, to revise those short notes, then be ready to forget all of them, right? Then do not think of this 20% of your paper. Perfect. So it is my suggestion to you guys to make the formula sheets for every single chapter. Every single chapter, try to revise the minimum for 15 to 20 minutes every single day. That's how you are going to remember the formulas. That's how you can do this 20% of the questions when it comes to your NEET physics examination. The last and the most important thing which students miss out. I know you'll be trying to solve a question and it'll be taking an hour to solve this question, right? But my dear students, in your actual NEET examination, you exactly have to spare 1 minute of time to solve one question, right? Majority of the students, they think their preparation is up to the mark. They have killed this book, they have solved this book, but in the actual examination, they feel short of time. Why is that? Because they do not solve the timer-based question. My dear students, you have to select the timers exactly. While solving a particular question, you have to select a timer basically. You have to select a fixed time. Let's say, see, it's very simple. You see, not in the first go, you'll be able to solve the question in 1 minute. Not in the first go. No. Let it take 5 minutes in the first go. Let it take 5 minutes to solve one particular question in physics in the first go. But, my dear students, when you try to solve the same question again after a week or 2 weeks, you should be in a position to solve this question in a minute. You should be in a position to solve this question in a minute. So timer-based questions are really important. See what majority of the students do. They enter into the NEET examination, they think the paper is difficult. But when they try to solve the same question at home, they think the paper was easy. What happened in the examination hall? My dear students, that thing happens only because you do not practice the timer-based question. You try to solve the question as per your convenience, right? You take as much time as possible, right? You do it during your preparation. But it's better to select the questions and try to solve them, right, in a proper time frame. That is again one more important thing which I did not skip at my time of JEE preparation, which you are not going to skip too. And I believe if you are just going to remember these 4 to 5 things, trust me, from today itself you are going to do that. My dear students, you are easily going to score good marks, good marks when it comes to your physics. Just follow proper sequence. Your lecture, followed by your class notes, right? Solving the same questions again, what your teacher has done, following the DPP, right? Following the DPP. Once you're done with the DPP, then your PYQs of your NEET 5 years as well as JEE Mains 5 years, right? And at the end, the chapter-wise test. You're done. And if you're going to follow this particular sequence for all the chapters of physics, trust me, you are easily going to score 160 plus in your physics when it comes to